rabbit number 2. Alright, so it is Monday for another 45 minutes. Sadly, I have to go get my car inspected, so Monologue Monday will not be happening tonight. But I am going to do at least 2 videos just because I don't like going all weekend without filming. And now, if you can hear the rain in the background, you're halfway there. Alright? So tonight, I pissed somebody off. I want to talk about it. I'm not going to reveal their name. It's not an Instagram thing. It's a news now. You know when I keep telling you I get these news broadcasts from the big red N on my phone? Well, suspect arrested after quadruple slaying. Infants disappeared in Indianapolis. So you guys can go and, damn it, where the hell did it go? I was trying to click on the actual fucking story. Alright, so this is the see that big freaking N right there? Alright, so the suspect is a 25-year-old. His name is Malik. I can't pronounce this shit, but anyway, I'm going to spell it for you. Malikhalfacre. I'm not going to go into too many details about this crap because it's kind of disgusting. As this dude, he killed 4 people and a little baby girl was missing. So in the comments, my first comment caused a problem. So I'm going to read my first comment. And then if you guys want to talk to me about this, and if you choose to, I'll make another video. And you can go to my Instagram and you can drop me a line there. And my Instagram is James Williams Jr. 616 or James O. Williams 616 or whatever. You can find me. You can't miss me. I'm being choked by the kingpin. Okay? So anyway, what I had said was unacceptable and unnecessary. I have a few things to say. Brace yourself because you're not going to like them. Now, I was honest from the jump. And what I said was, every one of us, people of color, can say thank you to this asshole for fucking things up for black people. That's probably what started this. I am half black. You guys might not like it, but I am. I'm also half Cherokee and half white. This asshole better not have killed the baby. Now, later I found out the baby is okay. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. Or else, or use the baby as, use the baby's whereabouts as get out of jail free card. Because a lot of people do, make deals. Because, time is of the essence when you have a baby. The baby's like 6 months old or whatever. And you have a baby, if this person wants to get total immunity for this baby, he gets it in writing, he can walk. And people have done that. Not just on TV. People have actually literally done that. Finally, my third thing was, this guy won't be safe in jail or in hell, and he needs to answer for his crimes. If I have offended anyone reading this, I'm sorry. Well, guess what? I offended at least one person, and she jumped down my ass, and I'm not going to put her name out there, but she specifically told me to shut the fuck up. Alright? I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So, I wrote another statement apologizing for everything that I said. And my apology, people actually were telling me that I shouldn't apologize for what I said because I dropped in the truth. Because in my other statement, I said, and I'm going to be a little racial now, so I'm going to piss you guys off, so let me apologize again. My exact comment was, whenever a black person does a crime, black people feel it, and especially black men. I said, this is why we have police brutality on black men, because of people who told me to shut the fuck up when what I said was true. Because, when a black person creates a crime, 15% of you watching me right now is black. And 15% of you, when you see a news report, the first damn thing you say, especially if you're my age, if you're in your 40s, like late 40s, almost 50, if you're a Generation Xer, you have said this shit every time a black person committed a crime before you found out they were black. The first damn thing that you said is the same thing I said. And when you cut on the news and you hear about this crime, the first thing that 45% of black people say, Not 63, but 45% of black people. The first thing we say when we hear about a crime is, God, please don't let them be black. Now let me explain that. Because a lot of you guys here are probably too young to remember John Lee Muhammad and or John Malvo, whatever the hell, the damn DC snipers. Now the profiler got that shit all wrong. And the cops in DC were hunting down a white dude, and then we kind of found out it was two black dudes who was going around killing people. Now this happened right not too long after 911 or before 911. I'm not really sure, but black people had finally got off the fuck it was a black guy radar. All right, and then they put us right back on the black guy radar because if you notice when 911 happened, everybody who was a regular black person had breathed a sigh of relief and finally was like, all right, there was no black people involved. And then Muhammad tried to fuck everything up. And then the black shoe bomber on the plane, he fucked shit up. The black guy with the SUV in front of one of the places in New York tried to blow shit up with the SUV, but the detonator didn't work or some shit. And it was just like that. And everybody with black was saying the same shit. God, don't let me black. God, don't let me black. And then when the Boston bomber happened with the stir fry crock pot thing, and that was a white dude. It went back to white people, but that didn't really it really didn't fuck with white people the way a crime fucks with black people. For instance, the Central Park 5. When the Central Park 5 happened, the parks were not safe for black people to walk because everybody was assuming that most black people are rapists. Alright? Hey, you guys might not like it, but I try to give you guys 99.9, and you can go Google anything I said about the Central Park 5 if you don't believe that. But whenever a black crime has happened, when a black person creates a crime, not just when a black person kills another black person, because that so rarely makes the news, and it rarely makes the news because it's fucking fact that more black people kill more black people than other incidences, which is unfortunately sad and true at the same time, where when a black person does something radically stupid, like this guy who kills 4 people and kidnaps a baby, you know, and that shit makes the news or whatever, you know, if you come on the news today and that shit popped on and you didn't know what I just said in this article, the first thing that black people would say, and I mean my generation, because we grew up with the whole OJ thing, you know, the first thing we would say is, dear Lord, please don't let this person be black. Because black entertainers, regular black people, and young black people, we know what happens next. So the young lady who told me shut the fuck up basically didn't understand what my stakes is in this. So let me break it down for you. Alright? I have one male cousin who was murdered damn near in front of his child. I have 2 female cousins that were murdered in front of their children. These young girls will never know how beautiful their moms were. Alright? I have 2 friends who killed their girlfriends in front of their children. That's 4 people dying in front of their children. And this woman, because of what I said on this article and how this is going to affect black people, told me to shut the fuck up. But I didn't clap back, and I'm not clapping back now. What I simply said was, I pray that you never, as long as you are breathing, ever lose somebody to a person because you don't understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, each victim that I spoke of were black people. And no fucking shocker there, they were killed by black people. But she doesn't understand that. I wasn't saying any of that shit to be racist. I was saying that shit factually because every time a black man does something, every one of us black men are in danger of being beaten by a cop or shot by a cop or beaten by a mob of people because they believe that somebody did something and we fit the fucking description. So I said it to her. I pray that you never lose anybody to murder. I pray that you never get hurt. And I pray that you don't know anybody who loses somebody to murder by a person of color. I pray that you don't. Now, I don't want her or anybody she knows to get hurt by people who are not of color or be hurt at all. But the fact of the matter is I get out of these boots and become a little bit shorter. Shoe boots. You know, it's really hard to say something to somebody when you don't know what they've been through. But to blatantly come out on a comment in an inbox and tell a person who you don't know to shut the fuck up because I said some truthful shit. If you are a black man right now between the ages of 47, let me stop that. If you are a black person between the age of 65 to 35 right now, one of you put in the comments, I have never been followed by a store detective. I have never been pulled over by a police officer and felt threatened for my life because of the color of my skin. You write that down there. I'm 47 years old. I've been pulled over by about 7 cops for speeding. I'm guilty of speeding. And each and every fucking time, I can tell you I had a gorilla grip on my goddamn steering wheel out of fear that these cops would fucking shoot me because of the color of my skin. And granted, I don't have a criminal record. I've never broken the law outside of a speeding ticket, and then there was my ex and that tiny little harassment thing. But other than that, I've never broken the fucking law. But I know plenty of people who have broken the law. I know plenty of people who have died just for being at the right place at the wrong time. And when I joined the Army, I hoped that that would change. Because when I was in Bravo and Delta, there was no skin tone. There was only the color green, which is how I see people. If you ain't green, then you're a civilian. If you are a soldier, you know what I'm saying. You understand that my Chinese brothers, my black brothers, my white brothers, and this right here, this is the only color we see. In the civilian world, there are blacks, whites, and Asians. And then there are the racial alternatives that people say. This young woman who insulted me with the STFU or whatever, shut the fuck up, whatever the abbreviation is, she has no fucking idea how much one person of your race can cause a problem. Now the only other place where no one would generally say, I hope this isn't a person of who we are, would be in Asia. Because not too many people of color live in Asia because it's a whole nation of Asian people. So if an American comes there, an American's not going to really try to do anything stupid because we don't want to be stuck in jail there. You know, we've heard the stories. If I go over to North Korea, you better believe that I'm not touching shit. I will take pictures if they allow it. If they say I can't take pictures, I'm not going to take pictures. And the first damn thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to say, am I allowed to shoot? If they say no, I ain't going to be sad about it. Put my camera back in my fucking pocket. I'm going to go about my business. Because stupidity is not something that runs deep in my brain. And manners get you pretty far. If you ask nicely, I was like, hey, translator, ask them if I can take a shot, you know, or if we can take selfies and they can they can take the picture of us for us, you know, so that way they will put us where we can shoot the picture without offending them or causing problems. Well, that's the thing, all right? Now, many years ago, when Trump first got in office, a young student from UVA went to North Korea and he got fucked up. Pretty much that's it. And he wasn't given the proper accountability of what you can and can't do there when he got there. And that's how he got into trouble and that's how he got locked up. And then he fell into a coma and he passed away, and God rest his soul, and my condolences to his family. But if you have not been the victim or know someone who has been murdered, then you shouldn't be telling anybody to shut the fuck up. Straight up. Now, as I go on, because I don't want this video to last forever, as I go on, you know, my other comments got twice as many thank yous and good response. And I'm glad, because, you know, I was sitting there like, okay, we'll see if an Asian person commits a crime in Asia, it's nothing, because they're all Asian. If an American or a black person or an African person goes and lives in Asia and commits a crime, or did y'all guys forget about the 3 basketball players that stole the sunshades out of the Gucci store? That shit was front page news. And that was probably one of the times where the Asians didn't say, well, finally, it's not one of us. You know, because in America, when a black person commits a crime, if you're black and you haven't said this, you're either really young or your parents just kept you out of the loop of, please don't let him be a black person. In my lifetime, with every event that has ever happened with a black person outside of George Floyd and other stuff, the first thing I've always said from my teenhood to my 20s was, God, just don't let them be black. When Columbine happened, I was in my early 20s and I was in freaking Piedmont. And I said, God, please just don't let them be black. You know, because generally when black things happen, black people got to pay for it. There was a serial rapist here in Charlottesville. And the serial rapist was at least 6'4". I'm not even 5'4". I'm 5'3.5". And I got hemmed up by 6 ATF agents. 6 of them. On one guy. And though I might be diddly, YouTube wasn't a thing then. Hell, the internet was basically in its infancy. And I'm walking up the street, and 6 ATF agents pull up on me. And had I not seen the words ATF on their jacket, they probably would have shot me. Because I would have done something stupid. Because I seen 3 cars and 6 men jump out the car. Now, I know Kung Fu. I didn't have any weapons on me outside of a pocket knife. You'd be amazed what you can do with a pocket knife. But a pocket knife versus 6 guns really ain't a whole bunch of snowballs living in hell that can pull that one off. But if I can get a hold of just one of them, you know, which was my thinking before I seen the ATF, I was like, why is these 3 cars pulling up on me with these 6 white dudes in it? Technically, 2 of them was Italian or Spanish, but they were white looking. So I'm thinking to myself, I gotta get ready to fight. Now, mind you, I just got off the toilet, I just got out the shower, and I'm walking up the street to tell my bro that our movie sucked. And Sundance gave me this letter to prove that it sucked. And at this time, you know, the cops are on me, and I'm like, what the fuck? Earlier that month, they got one of my friends who was like, he has like a Forrest Gump issue. They got 2 of my cousins who were lighter than me, and one shorter than me and one taller than me. And they got a couple of other black people that I know that was nowhere near the description of this dude. Now you see, I have 2 tones. I have extra light and then brown. I mean, whatever you want to call my face. The last thing on my mind, the last thing that has ever thought about crossing my mind was fucking raping somebody. Well, that morning, somebody got raped in Willoughby, which is way over there somewhere. I had nothing to do with that shit. But these guys hit me up for about 25 minutes. They went through my shit. They searched me. And they thought that I was the guy that did it because I was wearing Nautica jeans and a Nautica jacket. The assailant that did this shit was wearing a Nautica jumpsuit. Okay, for those who don't understand what a jumpsuit material looks like, these are jogging pants. You know, cloth. My freaking, not this, can't wait to put that back on. My damn jeans are denim. Denim jeans. You know, y'all know what denim blue jeans look like. So I never wore a pair of jeans after that, by the way. I still won't wear jeans to this day because I got completely traumatized by that shit. And I had a Nautica jacket with the word Nautica down my arm. I haven't worn a Nautica product since that shit. I have been completely traumatized to jeans and Nautica products. I don't buy Nautica nothing. Because for some reason, in the back of my head, I know it won't happen, but I believe that the cops are going to arrest me for wearing a Nautica pants. Because that's kind of what happened. And then, you know, the cops that were out of the car was talking to me. The other cops were between the door jambs of their car with their hands on their hip. And I'm thinking, oh shit. You know, so I let the cops do what they want. Then the cops tried to offer me a ride. And I was like, nope, there's no way in hell that's happening. You know, because legally you can only give me a ride in the case of me being stranded on the road because that's an emergency, me having a heart attack because that's an emergency, or you're taking my ass to jail. Other than that, the cops really aren't legally allowed to put you in their vehicle if you're not being arrested. So that's what I told them. And then they followed me all the way to where I currently work because I wasn't working there at the time. I stopped in to let them know what the fuck happened in case they find my body somewhere because I don't own a gun. I don't need a gun. I've never liked guns. Even when I joined the Army, I kind of was against guns. I didn't have a choice there, but yeah, that was part of my uniform, the fucking M4. Anyway, when I got to my job, my bro Bennett, white cat, very good guy with the computer, I said, hey man, I need you to pull up a crime report to see what happened last night. And when he pulled up the crime report, it was serial rapist attacks woman in Willoughby. Serial rapist is described as black man 6'3" to 6'4", every bit of 240 pounds. It's a big fucking dude. Where do you see that? You don't. I'm 5'3.5", and at the time I was barely a $120, if that. And these 6 cops wanted my ass dead because they probably knew this woman personally. So when a black person does a crime, if your ass is brown, you're probably going down, and this chick has the balls to tell me I need to shut the fuck up. I've been accused of being a fucking serial rapist in my city. And up until 2017, it's been one of those things that black people just didn't talk about. We swept that shit under the rug. And in 2017, the Ku Klux Klan came to Charlottesville, Virginia. Within 2 weeks of that, the Unite the Right and the great and mighty David Kessler, or John Kessler, some Kessler motherfucker, decides to have this thing. Some jackass from either Tennessee or Ohio named James, not this James, drove his Dodge through a crowd of fucking innocent people because they were colored. And were anti-protesting about this white-black crap. A young white lady named Heather Heyer lost her life, and 2 state troopers crashed a helicopter. So before you ever reply to a comment about what I said about when a black person does something wrong, all black people feel it, understand where I'm coming from, because that shit is the truth. If I go rob a bank tomorrow, 7 black guys with long hair that don't look Native American will get pulled over. 6 Mexican guys will get pulled over. And they'll be like, oh, well, it was a tiny Mexican with the drinking plate t-shirt on. Do you know how many people are going to think that a tiny Mexican robbed the bank? You know how many Mexicans and black people are going to pay for something that I did? A boatload of them. Luckily for me, I can never commit a crime because the Army has my DNA on file. And the Army has a link to CODIS. So the second that they get a hit on my shit, here we go, I'm going to be in trouble. So please, look, y'all, understand that when I made that shit, it wasn't to be racist. I've got nothing against white people. I've got nothing against Asians. I got nothing against black people. In case you guys forgot, my name is James Williams Jr. I am part Cherokee Indian. I am part black, and I am part white. I am a triumvirate of 3 of the greatest human races on the planet. And Native Americans are biologically Asian. So therefore, anything that I do can affect anyone from these groups of people. And I don't want to do that. But when somebody from either one of these groups of people can do something that affects these groups of people, white people are not proud of Ted Bundy. White people are not proud of Gary Gilmore. I know. You have no idea who the fuck those guys are. Well, you probably know who Ted Bundy is. You probably know who the Son of Sam is. If you don't know who Gary Gilmore is, then you should probably Google the Executioner song. But those are some white people who were serial killers. White people aren't proud of that shit. The family of Ted Bundy and them have probably disowned him a few times. The B2K killer, his family has probably disowned him. Mostly probably for their own safety. The kids at Columbine that were white, they were shooting up the place. The kids in Florida were white, they were shooting up the place. Their families are not proud of that shit. And I'm sorry that if I pissed anybody off by saying what one black person does affects all black people. Let me quote Dr. Martin Luther King as I end this, because this goes for all tribes of people. And he said it, and I'll quote him. And what Dr. King said, and I'll do it as best I can word for word, what he said was, and I quote, "What doesn't affect you on one level directly will affect you on another level indirectly." Unquote. Now, my saying is, what affects one tribe of people directly or indirectly will affect every tribe of people directly or indirectly. So what affect the Cherokee tribe will affect the Navajos at some point, because you know Cherokee's East Coast and Navajo's West Coast. The Lakota is in the middle, along with millions of other tribes. What affects any one of them tribes will affect every tribe of that. What affects black people versus what affects African Americans will affect Jamaicans and Africans in Africa on some level or another. What affects white people in America will affect white people in Spain and in Europe and all over Russia and all the other European countries where the Anglo-Saxons come from. So, again, if that has offended y'all, I'm sorry. but I'm trying not to sound as racist as that sound. But you know, in a gathering of all of us together, what affects one of us will affect all of us, indirectly or directly. So if aliens came down tomorrow, there wouldn't be any racism because everybody would be running for their lives, or at least trying to find ways to survive. But the most dangerous thing that could ever happen between an alien attack, a zombie attack, or the Terminators is humanity's hate for other humans. Think about that while you sleep tonight. Be seeing you.